Welcome back to Gen Z Insights. I'm Glenn. We have a very special episode today. We're going to be discussing the 2021-2022 upcoming MVPs for the next NBA season. I think you'll be very excited to see who I have in my top 5 list. But I did go ahead and I created a presentation for today's video, just going over 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of the top MVPs for the upcoming season. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get all the new videos that come out. It's going to be every day around 11:30 a.m. That way you have plenty of time to watch it throughout the day. So make sure to get notified when those videos come out and make sure to like the video as well. I want to grow this channel as much as I can, and I super appreciate anyone who's willing to come along the ride and jump on the train early. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a great show. So let's get right into it. Like I said, the top five NBA, top five MVPs for the NBA 2021-2022 season. Obviously, with the thumbnail right here, I have Steph Curry. Could he win his third MVP? He very well could. So let's get into number 5 for today. So for Gen Z Insights, top 5 MVPs, I do have Kevin Durant number 5. The reason I have him number 5 is I just feel like Brooklyn has, too many top 15, top 10 talents in the NBA. Kind of like with Golden State, they were the best team, but no one was ever awarded a regular season MVP when KD was there. I do see Brooklyn having the best record in the NBA, giving him some credibility because he is the best player on the team, probably the most durable even after an Achilles injury, which is crazy. I do see him getting awarded for having the best record, but ultimately not getting the MVP because of the other top 10 talents on his team, but also just because of how great the roster is constructed overall. So I see Kevin Durant being number 5. The media loves him. A lot of the media consider him the best player in the world. So I have him number 5 right here. For number 4, we have Joel Embiid. Obviously, he was, I believe, the runner-up for MVP last year. Played great, could have very well won it if he was just healthy. I think he would have won it if he was healthy. Like I put here, it really depends on if they do trade for Damian Lillard or another superstar to pair with Joel. If they get Joel or if they get Dame or another superstar and they have a very good winning record, if they somehow could be number 1 or not number 1, I believe the Nets will be by far the number 1, but number 2 seed in the East, he'd have a very good shot to get it if he puts up very similar stats, if not better stats than last year. But ultimately, I just see the 76ers struggling with the Ben Simmons drama that's going on, and I don't see them having a good enough record to award Joel the MVP. He very well could win it if they're in that 58 to 64 win range in number 2 or 3 seed. But ultimately, I just think they will struggle a little bit with having to trade Simmons, bring someone else in, figure out the chemistry, etc. So that's why I have Joel number 4, still above KD because he's going to be a solo star or at least the 1A to a 1B superstar. So is Kevin Durant, but when you have 2 other 1B and 1C superstars, it really does change the dynamics. So for number 3, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that Giannis was harmed in the past just because he won back-to-back regular season MVPs, and then when he played in the playoffs, they walled him off, and he really wasn't that guy in the playoffs. He didn't prove that he was the best player, that he had some weaknesses, and that teams could take advantage of it. I think because of that, the media ended up kind of flipping on Giannis. They decided that he has to prove that he is as dominant as he is in the playoffs and the regular season. I do think that him winning the championship this year and the finals MVP will end up changing that regular season narrative around him. They have no excuse not to award him a regular season MVP if he has the stats and the record to show. I do believe they will probably be the second in the East this year. And ultimately, I just think that the media does still want a new MVP, obviously in quotes, whether that is a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, a Luka Doncic, any of these players, a Trae Young, any of these young players or players that haven't won MVP for a while, that's who I think the media will be looking for this year. That's why I have Giannis at 3 because he's won recently. I still don't think they're ready to really give him another one unless if he averages insane stats and somehow gets the number 1 seed in the East. So for number 2 and the runner-up, I do have Luka Doncic, one of my favorite players in the NBA. I actually named my dog after him. After that game-winning buzzer beater he hit against the Clippers in the bubble, I knew this guy was the real deal, being so young, hitting a clutch shot, obviously averaging like 30, 10, and 10 in the playoffs that year. I think it was his second year in the league. absolutely insane. He's an incredible player. He's going to be a transcendent player, someone kids look up to for many years. I believe he will end up being one of the all-time greats. He has a chance to easily make it in the top 50, and he has a great chance to be in the top 25 when he ends his career. Ultimately, I think he will win more than one MVP in his career. In my opinion, I just think he's too talented, too much of a generational type player to only win one MVP. I do think he's better than Dirk Nowitzki. Not at his prime. Well, I guess even right now you could say he's better than Dirk in his prime. But I believe at least in his sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth year, he's going to be in his prime, and will far surpass Dirk. And I think that's why he'll win more than one MVP. But ultimately, I just think that the team's record still isn't going to be as great. They still don't have an amazing roster. They have to figure out what they're going to do with Porzingis, some of the other players. I like Tim Hardaway Jr., but paying him that much money, he's kind of your second best player. I think Luka deserves and needs more than him. He could be a great third guy to play great defense and score. But if Porzingis could step into that role, if they could trade Porzingis for a player who could step into a secondary co-star role, average 20 points or more per game, that would be perfect for him. But ultimately, until that happens, I see them being a 5, a 6, or 7 seed once again. They were the 7th seed last year. I just don't think that's going to be good enough to get his first MVP this year. Like I said, I think he will win many MVPs in the future, but this year I just still think he's not quite there as far as a team record goes. We'll have to see, but I do think that Luka is loved by the media and he will be very highly rated up. And this will ultimately all come down to stats and obviously the records. But records are honestly more important than the stats because you can average 30, 10, and 10, but be an 8 seed and you will never win the MVP. But if you're averaging 25, 8, and 8, and you're the number 1 or 2 seed, the best player on your team, you have a great chance of winning. So we'll just have to see. But I do have Luka as my runner-up for the 2021-2022 MVP season, or for the 2021-2022 regular season MVP. And then for number 1, just like I had it on the thumbnail for my video, I do see Steph Curry winning his 3rd regular season MVP. And now let me tell you exactly why. I think Steph is very slept on. I think the Warriors are very slept on. Obviously, Klay's not going to be back at the beginning of the year. But if he comes back, even if he's 90, 95% of what he was, if he can at least, he's going to always be able to shoot as good as he ever has. But as long as he can get up down the court, play pretty good defense close to what he used to play, this team is going to be super dangerous later in the year. I see them making the Western Conference Finals if they all stay healthy. But Steph, he won the scoring title last year, scored more than 30. If he was to do that again, and obviously if he also wins the scoring title, that helps as well. But if he carries the Warriors to a 2nd or 3rd seed in the Western Conference, considering Klay will be out for a quarter of the season, I think that no one can deny his greatness. I even think the media is sleeping on how good Steph Curry is right now. Me personally, I think he's still the 2nd best player in the world. And 2015 and 16, when he won those back-to-back MVPs, he solidified himself as one of the best players in the game, if not the best player. Obviously, LeBron takes him down 2016. LeBron regains that title. KD left to go to Steph's team. I don't see how KD took over Steph in his own building and his own team. I get that he won the Finals MVPs, but Steph he could have easily won that first year. In the second year, they both played great. You could have gave it to either one. You could say KD was better against that team in the finals. But I just ultimately think Steph is a more impactful player than KD ultimately. And I think he's very, very slept on. But ultimately, I just believe the media will be forced to give Steph the MVP if they have the 2nd or 3rd seed, if he does the things that I think he will do. And the national media is going to have to recognize and give him exactly what he deserves. Not only the MVP conversation, but just the national, who's the best player in the world conversation. I guarantee you that will happen this year with Steph Curry. He will be talked about, and they will, on First Take, on First Things First, Undisputed, they will say, is Steph Curry the best player in the world? Book it. I guarantee it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Steph Curry is going to win the MVP? Let me know exactly who you think will win it. Drop it in the comments section below. I will be replying to everybody. I want to know what people's thoughts are going into the NBA season. I do think Steph has the best chance, but he has to put up huge numbers and carry that team for a while without Klay. And even once Klay comes back, they have to figure it out and get back to that 2016 type style of play. And then I did have a little special slide here as well. I just have my dark horse MVP candidates. Damian Lillard, he's always in that conversation. He might not always be in the voting, but he's always close. He always has the stats. They just have to have the record. Ultimately, I don't think they have the record. I think they'll be 7 or 6 seed in the West if Dame stays. That's why I have him as a dark horse. And then with Devin Booker, I think how well he played last year. CP3 was an MVP type candidate. If Devin Booker comes back this year, scores 27, 28 points per game, he leads the Suns to the 2nd seed. Chris Paul is a little less impactful than he was last year. He would have a great chance, a great conversation to win the MVP as well. He's a very slept on dark horse MVP candidate. And then obviously I have LeBron James. I think because he has Russell and he has AD, I just see the media not giving him much room to work with. I had them ending up being, I believe 56 and 26 for their record. I do think that they could earn the number 1 seed, maybe the number 2. And I think this will be the first time LeBron James does not finish in the top 5 MVP voting, and the first time since I believe his 3rd year in the league, which is insane. He could absolutely win if they take off a lot faster than I think. They could easily win 60 plus games. But like I said, I just think the stats that Russell and AD are going to be putting up, how good the roster is constructed around the Lakers, I just see this being the first time LeBron's not in that conversation. He could play amazing. They could have a great record, and he could still not be in the top 3. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But I do believe this is the first time he'll miss out on that top 5 in a long time. And then Trae Young, he's my last one here. I just believe he's an up-and-coming superstar. If he could lead that Atlanta team to a better record, possibly a 3rd seed, maybe a 4th seed if he's averaging, 28, 29, 10 or more assists, a few rebounds, a few steals. He would have a slight opportunity to win, but I think this is probably the farthest, maybe not the farthest. Devin Booker could be the farthest from being an MVP as far as being a dark horse, but him and Trae Young are very close. Up-and-coming superstars. Going to have to give them their respect very soon, and they will be in these conversations in the near future. But this year, I just don't think that the situation that surrounds them is good enough to end up winning the regular season MVP. But like I said, you guys are just going to have to let me know what you think. Make sure to follow and interact with Gen Z Insights on all social media. I will be replying to everyone, like I said. For Instagram, it's just at Gen Z Insights INC. Twitter, same thing. And then TikTok, Gen Z Insights. That's it. I'd love to talk to all of you guys. Just, start some communication, get some opinions, get some thoughts, and just make sure everyone's enjoying the videos and seeing what I can do better. If there's anything else you'd like to see, any video ideas you'd like to see, please make sure to drop those in the comment section below. Other than that, this is Gen Z Insights. I've appreciated you guys tuning in very much. I will definitely catch you guys on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.